G'day, it's Brett here from BWCflies. In this session, we're going to tie the synthetic Clouser Minnow, which is for the self-tying kit that's available at BCF at Townsville. So in the kit, you would have received 2 hanks of synthetic fibre, green and a white, some body braid, some dumbbell eyes in the 3/16 size, some Gamakatsu hooks in the 1/0 size, and you would have received some white 210 denier thread. And what you would get inside of that kit is enough material to tie 5 flies, plus you get the fly that I tied, which is inside of the kit, so you can compare it and get the proportions right. And then you can also follow along on this tutorial as well, and we'll go through tying that synthetic Clouser Minnow in a step-by-step process. So the other parts of the other parts that you might need or that you should have on your bench already is a good quality pair of trimming scissors. You'll need to load the thread into your bobbin, and you may need a bodkin, which is basically a needle, which is quite a handy piece of equipment for all sorts of tying. And then throughout the process, I will use some UV resin just to make the fly a little bit more durable. And then you'll need a good quality torch to be able to set the resin as well. Okay. So if you don't have those kind of pieces of equipment, you probably should have. Most would have. They're fairly common pieces these days. So where we're going to start is that we've got the hook in the vise. The shank is nice and parallel, and we're just going to start behind the eye of the hook and make a nice base of thread heading backwards, and we're going to go all the way back so that the thread is just at the barb section. And then we're going to advance our thread 2/3 of the way forward. At this point, we're going to apply just a little bit of super glue to the top here, and that's going to help us bind on those dumbbells. So just a little, you don't need a lot, just a little bit, just so it picks up the thread. Okay, so with your dumbbells, sit them on top of the shank. My hands are going to be in the way a little bit there, but so take a wrap across, or a couple of wraps across like so, and square it up, and a couple of wraps back like so. And then what I like to do is just fill in the edges, and then I make some thread wraps that go underneath of the dumbbell but above the hook shank, and that just tightens down all of those threads, all of those cross wraps. Okay, and before you get too much further down the track, and while that super glue is just a little bit wet, you just want to make sure that those dumbbells are nice and square to that hook shank so it rides properly in the water. Okay, then with your length of body braid, just going to trim that tag end off. We're going to bind that in right behind the eye, and then take your thread back to above the barb like so, and then we're going to go all the way back, but then put the thread in front of the dumbbells so the thread's now hanging down this side. Okay, with the body wrap, nice firm flat wraps that just overlap each other like so, and then when you get to the dumbbells, a wrap each way in a crossover formation. Okay, then a couple of wraps of thread just under there, just to secure that down. Don't put too much thread in this area, as we really need this platform here to be able to put the wing on of the fly, okay? So with the UV resin, it's up to you whether you do this stage or not. But what I want to do is I actually want to coat this body here with a thin formula of UV. And what that does, it just makes that pearl shimmer just pop out a little bit more, but more importantly, it builds a more durable fly, especially more durable against teeth and that sort of thing. You don't want teeth getting stuck in there and then starting to pull that body fibre out or that body braid out. And with the torch, just going to set that resin. Doesn't take too long. Okay, that should be enough for the demo. Okay. Then with the synthetic fibre in the white, you want the white as the base colour or as the belly colour. We're going to take out a little bunch that's probably about, when it's compressed, maybe about a match sort of thickness down at the butts here, and then pull out any stragglers. And what you want to create is just a bit of a taper, so you can just extend the fibres with your thumb and your forefinger. That looks pretty good. We're going to put that in the middle and push those fibres over the top of that hook point. Okay. And grab your thread and bind that in with a few wraps. There's probably 6 there. But you don't want to go too far forward. So you can see that I'm still leaving plenty of room from where my tie-in threads are to where the front of the hook is. Okay, but we're going to just cut those little butt sections out and then clean them up and cover them over with a few thread wraps. Okay, then with the green, we're going to get perhaps a third more for the top colour. Same deal, just clip off a bunch from the bunch that you get inside the pack. Pull out any straggly short fibres, and then you can start to create a bit of a taper in your hands just by massaging the fibres, I suppose. So the more you can do this, the less trimming that you'll actually have at the end, or you may even end up with no trimming at the end. Okay, so what we've created is a nice little taper there. So we want the green to be just slightly longer than what the white is. We're going to tie that in straight over the top. Couple of nice firm wraps. That's 3 and 4, 5. Okay, and we're going to cut those butt sections out like so. And then at this point, we're going to start to build a little bullet head shape for the front of the fly with your thread. And then what we'll do is we'll actually finish this fly off with another coating of UV resin. Okay. So we're ready for a couple of whip finishes. So I'll whip finish with my fingers, which you may not do. You can use a whip finishing tool for this process, but I would always put in 2 whip finishes. Clip that thread off, and then with your resin, you really only need to use a little amount and just let that soak into the threads. I'll put some more back up over that dumbbell saddle, and then just allow a little bit to push into those fibers just on top of the dumbbell. You'll see that it'll start to soak in there just a little bit. Okay, that's a nice amount. And then we'll just set that with our resin, or with our torch, sorry. That should be just about enough. Then we'll take the fly out of the vise and just have another little look at it. So pull those fibers forward or down over the hook. And then you can give the fibers just a little bit of a trim underneath if you want to, just to create or to enhance that tapered presentation just a little bit more, just by getting rid of some of the stragglers. And then we'll just get rid of a couple up the top there, just like so. And there you have it. You have a really, really effective fly in the synthetic Clouser Minnow. So it doesn't take too long to tie. All the components are available in the self-tying kit, which is available at BCF. And then hopefully you've got some tying tips that you can put into place. And that's it. Thanks to the people that have already bought that purchase, or have already purchased that kit from the store. So you now have the step-by-step tying tutorial to go with it. Thanks very much, and see you next time. Ta.